And welcome to episode 42 of the Red Mountain Express. We are back after taking a week off. And, of course, I'm always here with Matthew Joyner and Patrick Tucker. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Doing good.
I have no complaints.
None whatsoever?
No complaints.
You feeling better, Blake?
Yeah, I can breathe and everything.
By all accounts, you almost died last week.
It was a terrible, terrible week. I had like a week from hell that just kept getting worse and worse and worse. My great-grandmother, who is 100 years old, had a heart attack. She's fine. She's back at home. She lives by herself. I tried to switch cable providers, which is not important as compared to my great-grandmother.
It has to do with your quality of life.
And, they showed up and said, oh, well, I don't think we offer this cable in your area. I'm like, well, you told me you did. And then that still hasn't been resolved yet. Then I had a hot water heater meltdown where I had to replace a hot water heater. So that was a good $1,500 down the drain.
Good timing on that.
Literally. And then I got really sick on Sunday. I was running 102 fever, and so that's why we did not record.
And we came very close to recording. In my home. And when you told me you had 102
I was like,
fever,
man, this ain't happening.
I told my wife, and we were both like, no.
Yeah.
Like
The pregnant wife said no.
No.
Trust me,
can't risk that.
It was when I heard you were like, let's just delay it. I was like, I went straight to bed. It was 7:30, and it was great. I haven't slept that long in a long, long, long time. So, but I feel better now.
Good.
So yeah,
glad you're not dead.
Me too.
The show would be a host short. We'd make do.
I mean,
the show would go on.
Was it like you'd be upset for about 10 minutes and you'd move on?
No, look, it'd be at least a day.
No, that's
2 days.
Sweet of y'all. Yeah. But I feel better now. I'm on antibiotics, so.
So it's Saturday, which is not our normal recording day. We normally record
Cinco
on
de Mayo.
Sunday. It's Cinco de Mayo. Of course, yesterday was celebrated May the 4th because we're a bunch of nerds.
May the 4th be with you.
I'm not doing it.
My wife says, and also with you. And I'm like, this is not church, honey.
I felt like that's what you wanted me to say when you looked at me just now. Like,
so many memes.
So many memes. So yeah, we don't really have anything to talk about like what we've done this weekend yet because it is the beginning of our weekend. So here we are. So we're going to jump right into some stories. Now, Patrick, before we started, you were talking about a new movie that is being filmed in Birmingham or will be filmed in Birmingham.
Yeah, I assume it's called Live, but it could be called Live.
Hard to tell.
Hard to tell from the
no
article.
accent marks.
So you're filming that new movie Live. Oh, you live.
But it's got Courtney Eaton and Aaron Eckhart. Courtney Eaton, who was in Mad Max Fury Road, and Aaron Eckhart, who
was Harvey Dent, Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
He was also in Thank You for Smoking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I think he's been in a few things, but those are both.
Aaron Brockovich, he was in that. Yeah.
So some pretty decent sized names there attached to this project. Don't know much about it. It's the IMDb description of it says a disgraced cop finds himself in a race against time to find a kidnap victim whose abductor he accidentally killed. That doesn't make sense to me, but
it doesn't really get me hooked yet. I'm not.
Maybe it translates better in the actual movie, but
that no matter how bad this movie is, if it's released and it was filmed partially in Birmingham, people in Birmingham are going to flock to go see this.
Absolutely.
No matter, and they'll tell you it's so great.
Yeah.
Like I'm from Montgomery, they filmed Big Fish there, and I thought Big Fish was an okay movie. People are like, it is the most fantastic movie I've ever seen in my life.
I'm going to call you out right now.
No, it's a good movie, but people were it's okay.
I don't even care that it was filmed in Alabama. It was an excellent movie.
It was weird, man.
It was a great father-son touching story.
Maybe I'm just not a fan of what's his head. So, Ewan McGregor. Not a big fan of Ewan McGregor.
What?
Just not a big fan.
Is it because of the prequels?
No, I'm not. Why did you go there? I wasn't even going to go there. I just don't think
because I know you. That's why.
Did y'all go see Woodlawn when that movie was
I did not.
I saw it when we were helping out with the youth group. We watched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never saw it, so
it was okay.
I was wondering. There have been a few movie projects in Birmingham. I don't know if we're just getting this spillover from Atlanta. I have a friend who's posting pictures out of her balcony of a movie set that's going on in Atlanta right now. But
a buddy of mine texted me last night, and we were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger for some reason yesterday at work because we have nothing else better to do probably, and. He was telling me that he was watching Stay Hungry.
What a great movie.
Yeah, he was like, I'm watching Stay Hungry right now. And I was like, man, and was it Bill Burke, the comedian? He goes, that guy should be unloaded boxes in Transylvania right now. But because he was a great man, he had the guts to move to America.
So interesting facts about that movie. I went to Altamont, and the former headmaster of Altamont is actually the bartender in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, so And it was filmed here. You could see Arnold Schwarzenegger in a UAB T-shirt, which
And
is
it's like
pretty cool.
fully filmed here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it
like
was
totally
yeah.
in Birmingham.
Hey, look,
so.
I feel completely out of the loop because I don't know what y'all are talking about.
You have to go see it. It's got Arnold Schwarzenegger and I want to say Sally Field.
Sally Field's in it too.
It's an
yeah.
older movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 70s, 75 or 6. It's like one of his first
You
movies.
said it was Stay Hungry?
Stay Hungry.
Stay Hungry, okay. So there have been several films, I think, filmed in the area, or at least partially filmed in the area, Birmingham, Hoover, of course, several outlying cities. I've got to be honest, there's very few that I've actually seen, and I don't think of any of those that I've seen, I went and saw just because they were filmed in our location.
Well, it's because you're, a normal human being, but,
Maybe I'm just like, I consider myself somebody that's pretty in tune with...
Did you know the prequels were filmed here in Birmingham?
Could you tell? I like movies. I watch a lot of movies. I'm not a cinephile per se.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. Not
Yes,
compared to
you
you.
are.
I
Okay.
can't quote every line from every movie I've ever seen. I don't.
And
That
that
means
maybe
you have
it's-
a bad memory.
Yeah,
That
I
could be
just have
it.
a really good memory.
I don't keep in touch with like the awards and stuff as they happen, the award shows. And so maybe that's part of it. I don't keep in touch with what's being filmed here, and maybe I miss it, unless it's something like Big Fish that was filmed close to here.
Yeah, like I was supposed to be in Big Fish. Like I went to casting and everything.
Really?
Yeah, but ended up having a baseball game, so couldn't play. Couldn't do it. We'll be in the
That's a
football
weak
scene.
excuse. You could have been in that movie.
Oh, thank God I wasn't, because it wasn't that great of a movie.
Ouch. I saw it twice in theaters.
Ouch.
I really did.
There are very few movies I've seen twice in the theaters, and Big Fish sure as hell wasn't one of them. Like my brother saw, who is notorious for bad movies, he saw The Day After Tomorrow 4 times in the theaters.
That was a bad choice.
Yeah,
was a terrible
exactly.
movie.
Think about that for a second.
I saw it in theaters once. I think I ended up buying it for $5 at Best Buy when it was on sale.
or
and
like
watched it again.
or the
The
Walmart
Walmart
bin.
bin.
Yeah, yes, of the really thin DVD holders. And,
No liner notes or
No,
anything.
That's and in college I'd go to like Walmart to go shopping. I'm like, let's go see what's in the bin, and like that's how I like some of the crappy movies that I have
had,
was in the bin.
our-
$5, man.
Our movie store growing up, our video store, would do these big sales where you go in and get like 3 movies for $1.
All the
You know,
scratched
I
up rented
racked
movies.
up, man. I had so many movies. When I got married to Laura, though, it was one of those things where we started combining all of our stuff, and then we were moving, so I wanted to get rid of a bunch of things. I donated probably over 200 DVDs to the local library. Like, it was just a ton of movies.
Here.
We have this thing in our house where
'em.
we own not that many movies. We never watch them, any of them. But if the movie comes on TV, we will sit down and watch it every time. I don't. It's really weird. Like we own this on DVD. We could put it in.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we don't watch it.
We've
We
taken
I've
our
done
DVD out. I don't even have a DVD player in the house anymore. It's downstairs,
anymore.
I
Well,
think.
I've got an Xbox and a PlayStation. They can play movies, but I very rarely put a movie in
Yeah.
because most of what I want to watch is on Netflix or Hulu or will come on HBO.
Now, there are some days like there's some movies that you just can't watch on TV, like The Godfather. Like you can't watch that on TV,
No,
like on AMC.
you don't want commercials. You
No,
don't want it
no.
cut.
I mean, so you can put that. I have the Godfather trilogy.
Yeah.
Which really you don't need to watch the third one because it's terrible. But
I watch it to remind myself.
exactly, yeah. But like, so you'll watch you'll watch one, and you've never seen the
I've
Godfather,
never
have
seen
you?
them. I'm hanging
How
my
is
head
that
in
even-
shame over
I
here.
wasn't going to point at him. I wasn't going to do it.
But that's like one of the movies I'd put, or Shawshank Redemption. Some of these movies that you need to watch, fully. But
Lord of the Rings.
yeah, I've never seen the last one.
What?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ignore the snoring sounds over there. They're good movies. I don't think they're excellent movies. They're really good. Don't watch them on TV.
Best picture.
Don't watch them as where the commercials would cut into them. That kind of ruins the flow.
Saving Private Ryan, same thing. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway,
We
all right.
digress.
A lot of movie talk there. There's going to be a movie filmed in Birmingham. That's the headline there. Another story I want to hit on really quick, or more like a shout out. There's a new podcast in Birmingham, Extra Special Brews. I have listened to their first episode. Basically, and I should be reading this from their description, but I'm going to make it up as I go. They are talking to founders, owners, creators of breweries around town, talking to them about their stories, how they got into it, what their goal is. Their first episode was with Red Hills Brewing Company, with the 2 owners there. Great episode, a lot of good insight into what goes into what they're doing at Red Hills Brewing Company. Give that a listen. You can find them on iTunes. They also have a Facebook page and I think an Instagram account. Of course, I will put more information on our show notes if you want to find them. And I think they have just released their second episode in the last week or two. So give them a listen.
We should have them on at some point.
Yeah, I haven't tried to talk to them or anything. They don't even know I'm mentioning them as far as I know.
Yeah, and they should have extra microphones too. So,
But I enjoyed listening to it. It was about an hour long, the first episode was. And that will lead into another story I wanted to mention real quick. This is something that slipped past my radar. I don't know how long it's been official, how long it's been happening, but Back 40 Beer Company I think they're based out of Gadsden.
Yep, they are.
They are starting a new satellite location here in Birmingham at the Sloss Furnace.
Yeah, so it says it's going to be a Birmingham brewery, restaurant, and entertainment venue. So, and I think they're investing like $1.3 million to convert a warehouse near Sloss. They said it's going to provide like 30 jobs.
Is it on Sloss's property or is it just near Sloss?
I think it's just near Sloss or
so
adjacent to Sloss.
the Rev Bham Facebook page said Sloss Docks.
Okay.
So maybe
Sloss
actually
Docks,
on Sloss
so
proper, or like somewhere
Maybe it's
attached
just
to it.
a dock named Sloss. I was thinking of the Sloss Furnace is what I was thinking.
A lot of the speculation I've seen talks about them trying to shoot for being open before the Sloss Fest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're going to do that or not. The Rev Bham's Facebook page had some pictures. Looks like they've made a lot of progress. I could see it happening. Sloss Fest is, we're a month away?
Yeah, I think so. A month and a half away.
I'll have to check that. I'm a big fan of Back 40's beer. I love their Truck Stop Honey. That's one of my favorites. It was one of the first, like, what I would consider microbrewery beers that I ever had. Loved it.
So it's 100 feet from. He said basically they first served their beer at the Sloss Brewfest, and they said they're 100 feet from where they first served their beer. So they're right there at Sloss.
Yeah, so kind of like in the square there where the beer fest
That's
is.
a good location,
That's
too.
a great
That's a great
location.
location.
That's going to be really cool for music festivals and things like that to just be able to kind of.
Have you ever seen a concert at Sloss? Have you ever been out there to see a concert?
Many times.
I have not. I've been to the beer fest a couple of times, but I've not been to a concert.
I saw Alabama Shakes at Sloss. It's just Sloss. And I'll tell you what, it was great venue.
Yeah, I love it.
It's fun.
Concerts there are really cool just because you're covered, but you're kind of outside. Trains going by.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of character.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really enjoy being out there. Like, it's really cool. So I'm excited about that. I think that'll be really cool. I'll be excited to see what kind of restaurant they do, if it's just like pub food or if they do bigger stuff.
I think that's the biggest story in my book because there's so many times you go to a brewery and you have to like go outside and get the beer and so or get the food, and so it'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Well, let's take a break, hear from our friends over at Beach and Woodworks, and we'll be back for more stories at the Red Mountain Express. See you in a second. Beach and Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beach and Woodworks creates affordable quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beach and Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the Red Mountain Express podcast. Speaking of podcast, S-Town has been awarded with a Peabody. I know I was a big fan of S-Town. All of y'all were too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I think I listened to it in like a couple days.
Oh, yeah, I definitely binged it.
Yeah, it was really good. But if you haven't listened to S-Town, you should. It's a 7-part podcast about a horologist, I guess is the name, what you would call him. He made repaired clocks and just an all-around kind of... what's the word? Strange individual named John B. McLemore. It was told by Brian Reed, who's a part of This American Life. Mm-hmm. And it took place down the road in Woodstock, Alabama. So, and you...
Yeah, so my parents used to own an auction, or not own, they ran an auction in a building in Woodstock, Alabama, so I spent some time down there.
In S-Town?
Yes, in S-Town.
So it's been downloaded 80 million times.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I think if you go to Google and type in Birmingham podcast, S-Town is like the first thing to pop up. Like it's
how is ours not the first one that pops up?
We're going to fix that.
We're close.
We're not near 80. Are we near 80 million yet?
So, somewhere
we're getting
just
there.
shy.
It's a slow climb. You know, it's a steep hill to climb.
But go check it out. It's a great podcast. It's been awarded with a Peabody, and it's well-deserved. So probably one of the... It's been talked about as probably the best podcast that's ever been released. So
yeah, I mean, when it first came out, and I binged it too. A lot of my friends binged it. I had a lot of people that had like mixed opinions on how it rated against some of the other podcasts that had come out.
Like Serial?
Like Serial.
Which I never listened to, but
I
I've heard lots of things about.
Serial.
the very first one was good. The second one was terrible.
Yeah, season 2 was a little bit slower. I didn't care about the subject matter as much as I did season 1. Season 1 had more of that mystery feel to it.
Even though he did it. Sorry.
Don't need to listen to it now.
No, he's wrong.
No, it's subjective.
He's still in court, or they're going back to court.
Yeah, actually, they're going back to court.
Anyway, but almost everybody that even if they didn't say it was the best podcast to ever come out, everybody highly regards it. And the fact that it won a Peabody, I think, speaks to that. So definitely give that a listen if you have not.
Yeah. let's switching gears. The NBA is going to be hosting a preseason game here in the city of Birmingham at Legacy Arena. I think it's the Rockets and the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be facing each other on October 2nd. Like I said, at the Legacy Arena, which begs the question. I mean, I know we're going to be doing some renovations to the Legacy Arena. Hopefully, this will work out to where they'll be able to still have it. But this was a big announcement, and maybe it can show that Birmingham can support some sort of larger professional team.
Yeah, so this is something I know Birmingham has done this in the past. I think maybe the last couple of years, or at least the last 1 year. I know we've had several Birmingham.
I feel like we talked about a preseason game coming last year.
I think you're right.
But it's great for Birmingham. It's great to get people downtown to the Legacy Arena.
It's got to bring in some money.
Some professional sports in Birmingham.
And the Rockets are a good team. They're in the playoffs right now. Right. They're still battling. So I mean, it's not like we're getting two of the bottom dwellers.
Right, and maybe we'll pull some Memphis fans down from Memphis.
Absolutely, especially since you can actually drive straight to Memphis now with the interstate being completed.
Yeah. So what do we have a date on when the game
October
is?
2nd.
October 2nd.
I think that's on like a Monday or Tuesday night. It's during the middle of the week, so it's not going to interfere with any football.
And I asked because, if we have an NBA game coming and Legacy Center knows it's coming, BJCC knows what's happening, they have to be shooting for a completion of at least the part that will affect this pretty quickly.
Yeah, you'd think. And I know that most of the stuff's going to be interior. Mm-hmm. I mean, exterior, the new skin that's going to come on the outside. But I know they want to do some stuff at the arena. They wanted to add some suites and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I'm
so
sure
I don't
update things.
Yeah, so maybe they're going to start on that after this is over with. But it's just a question I had that, this is, this is like 4 months away.
Do you think they would let a game like this come and still be under construction on some parts?
I doubt it.
So I'm thinking
I would imagine. Well, I've been to football games, especially at Alabama, where they were basically putting on a whole new side of the stadium, and they just blocked off a certain area, and they had a walkway.
Well, that's a lot different. Like somewhere like Alabama, you can shut down a side of the stadium and entrance, and there's still a ton of entrances.
Yeah, as long as if they're doing outside work, I think you're fine. If they're doing inside work and trying to help with a basketball game, it's going to be completely different. Now I'm just speculating on this. Just a question I had, knowing that are going to have a new football stadium and a new renovation of BJCC Legacy Arena, because they're going to do more than just outside. They're going to add a new piazza. They're going to do like the skin on the outside. They want to add some suites on the inside, some upgrades.
Yeah, it's one of those things. They could be working on suites inside and have the NBA there, and still
it's a big arena
construction, so it's a pretty big place. So.
Yeah.
But it's going to be called the BVA Compass Iron City Showdown.
Yeah,
October 2nd.
It's in conjunction with a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. They had Robert Ory, I think,
Wait a minute. Are you telling me there needs to be 3 people on a team to have a basketball team?
They're doing a 3-on-3 basketball.
I'm counting here, guys. I got 1, 2, and I really can't shoot, so you're going to have to find a third.
Look, I'm no Pippen.
I love how you pull out Scottie Pippen.
He was one of my favorites as a kid. Like I loved watching Pippen. I can't play basketball.
You're terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the worst. That's why I wrestled in high school, because I was really bad at basketball.
Yeah, I quit in high school because I was so horrible.
And you're tall. I mean, you think you're taller.
Yeah, you'd think I'd be okay, but no, not really.
Is it the dribbling part? Is that the part?
It's all of it.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
I was more of a baseball player.
Well, that's good. I mean,
basketball was never my sport.
Well, that's okay. Matthew, tell us about a new store coming to town.
Yeah, so in the Hoover area, there's a Hoover-based organic harvest grocery. I have not personally been there. I've seen the store. I know a lot of people that have talked about it. They are opening a new location downtown Birmingham. They're going to be on the 2nd Avenue North at 1924, which is the same block as the Paramount.
Yeah, so this is the Parisian building, 1924 2nd Avenue North. So it's downtown's second grocery store, because there's only just the Publix there now. Yeah. So this is a great thing. They're supposed to have a selection of wines and organic foods. And
all the description I've seen is some of the people I heard talking about it kind of sounds like a smaller Whole Foods type.
It is. So I've been to the one here in Hoover on 31, because they have like a selection of teas that my wife loves, and so I went there. But it's a legit grocery store. I mean, they've got some frozen things. They have produce. It's a really nice grocery store. But yeah, I would describe it just like that. It's kind of like a smaller Whole Foods, but also with some more like organic stuff like the teas and the vitamins and stuff. But it was busy when I was in there, and this was just kind of in the middle of the day one time.
So looking at the article on AL.com, it says they're also going to be offering, like kind of the grab and go stuff, the
like
Whole
the salad
Foods
sandwiches.
and salads and
Yeah.
sandwiches and juices and things like that. It also says they were purchased. The company was actually bought in late 2017, and the company has plans for quote unquote immediate growth. Because they had previously announced a second location and another location in Hoover that I think is still
they said
still
they're still working
coming,
on that.
but they're still working on it. So maybe they'll be able to get this off the ground a little faster than that one.
Yeah.
They've been working on for a while.
I think this will be a cool location to put it in the Parisian building. I think it's a great location for the amount of businesses you have right there. You've got influx of new living spaces in the area that can be serviced by this grocery store. And the fact that just a couple of years ago, downtown Birmingham was basically a food desert.
Yep.
And now we've got 2 grocery stores, or we'll have 2 grocery stores.
And it gives people an option because, a lot of folks who eat wholly organic do not shop at Publix, or maybe they get some things at Publix, but there are other things they can't find, and
Right.
they'll be able
Still
to
having to make trips down 280 to get to Whole Foods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think this is really good for the downtown area. Like you said, going from no grocery stores to 2 fairly quickly.
I think for the average person, having access to a grocery store is great. I think the average shopper, maybe lower income to middle income, may not want to shop at somewhere like this all the time because it does get expensive buying somewhere like Whole Foods or this organic Harvest Grocery. But yeah, having options is great. Bringing more money into the city, great.
So my thing is, how big is this grocery store going to be? I mean, if you've been to the one here in Hoover, and the one in Hoover, it's not terribly big.
They're not big stores, and I don't think this one's supposed to be a huge footprint either.
No, I don't think it will be very big.
But good news either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, more options.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, Matthew, you were talking about the Dannon project before we came on the air, and this is something that's happening in Birmingham, and it's kind of a bigger story than we were really anticipated to be. What is it, and can you tell me some of the history about it?
Well, I can try and get into it a little bit. So CBS42.com had this story. Said the city of Birmingham is creating a reentry task force to help formerly incarcerated. So what the article talked about was that Mayor Woodfin has joined this Dannon project. He joined it on April the 30th, announced the program, and signed on to it. And they listed 7 goals for Mayor Woodfin. And bear with me because it gets a little bit repetitious, but I'm going to try and get through it. It says he's going to establish a task force membership with firsthand experience in dealing with incarceration, establish the scale and nature of recidivism in Birmingham, determine the key causes of recidivism in Birmingham, identify key stakeholders to impact recidivism, establish interventions to help reduce recidivism, support families and communities impacted by recidivism, and provide actionable recommendations. So basically, from the Dannon.com website, they say that the Dannon Project helps restore lives through job preparation, certifications and training, and reentry services. You have people incarcerated in jail. When they get out, they try and find a job, and it's next to impossible. Either employers don't want to hire somebody that's been in jail, or they've been in jail long enough that they've lost the skills. They don't have any references. It becomes a nightmare, and then it becomes a cycle. If you're out of jail, you can't find a job, you need money, or whatever the circumstances are, you're more likely to go back to taking part in some kind of crime to get that money or to fulfill some need you have. And then that starts a cycle of recidivism where you're back in jail. And the more you're back in jail, the less likely you are to get a job next time you get out, and so on and so forth. I worked as a corrections officer for several years, and this is something we saw constantly, was this recidivism. And the question from administrators, legislators, higher-ups all over the country and the world really is, how do we stop this cycle of recidivism? And there's a million factors that go into it, but one of the bigger ones is getting people help to find jobs once they're out of jail or out of prison.
And Patrick told an interesting story about how this was founded, and it could have gone a completely different way, but...
Yeah, so this was actually started by J.J. Pruitt, which a lot of people know from the news. He's a local reporter, and his wife, Carrie Pruitt, it was his youngest brother was actually killed. So his youngest brother was Dannon Pruitt, and it's DannonProject.org. It's not Dannon.com.
Sorry, thank you.
You will get to the yogurt if
Appreciate
you go to Dannon.com. But so it talks about basically after his younger brother was killed, they sort of decided that it was killed by somebody who had been recently released from prison, and they sort of decided that if that person had support and other options, they may not have made the choices that they made that led them to killing his brother. So I think it's a great project. It's got a great goal. This sort of ties in with Birmingham's initiative, which they started a couple of years ago, I think, for Ban the Box, which is the box on the employment application that asks if you've been previously convicted of a crime.
Right.
So that is, I think it's a city ordinance now that you can't have that.
I think it's at least with city jobs, because
city jobs,
at least gets you to the next level, because they're going to do a background check no matter what. But
Right.
at least, get to the next level before, then like, hey, look, we noticed this on your record, and then you can have a chance to explain it rather than seeing it on the application and then all of a sudden just get thrown in the garbage.
Yeah.
So
I think, Sarah, I could be wrong. I need to fact check myself. I think several states and counties around the nation have gone through the Ban the Box and have gotten rid of that.
In Alabama, the legislature's taken it up a couple times, and they've gotten kind of close to it. I think it's something that will happen at some point. It's just sometimes there's not the political will for it, but it's been close a few times. So.
Yeah, and this is really interesting to me too, and I know it's something that's very close to Randall Woodfin, whose brother and his nephew both been affected or killed by gun violence. So this is, trying to prevent crime along those ways. I think this shows more of his dedication to trying to reduce crime, and a lot of that is from repeat offenders or people who've just come out of jail. So.
And this was last week or the week before. He made a statement, and I'll look and see if I can find the proper article. I'm shooting from the hip here. He made a statement basically that said, if you want to find a job and you have a gun, bring me the gun, give it to me, I'll give you a job. Like, let's do an exchange. I think that plus this kind of really shows that he's motivated to help the citizens of Birmingham get employed, help themselves, get on their feet, and provide for themselves and their families without having to resort to crime. So that's huge. That's something that Birmingham desperately needs in a lot of areas.
Yeah, he did. He said, give me your gun and I will personally help you get a job.
Yeah.
I think that's a powerful statement.
It's a huge statement.
That's awesome.
I think this story, it speaks to me because I've seen these inmates. I work with these inmates. I know a lot of these guys are not bad people. They just got caught up in something. And whether it's a drug issue or an issue of, hey, I need to steal or sell this to provide for my family, once you're out, you're on your own. Like, we call it corrections, but in a lot of ways it's a housing program for people that we don't want in society. And when we throw them out of that housing program, they're stuck. And it's all right, well, what do I do now? What do we do with these people?
Matthew, how many people would you say in your years working in corrections, what percentage of people in jails were former inmates at one point? I mean, can you say, do you think it was like 25, 30%?
You mean like got out and came back?
Yeah, that you worked with.
Oh, man. In Shelby County, I'd say it was more like 60 or 70%.
Wow.
We housed somewhere between 300 and 500 people on average while I was there. And you get to know these guys on a first name basis, and you can recognize them. You know their stories. You see them enough, whether they're there for a week and they come back, or they're in there for 3 or 4 years for whatever reason and not going to state prison. They're in there a lot for any number of reasons.
Yeah, so just some national stats that are probably a little bit outdated, but it's somewhere around 70% of people that were released from prison within 3 years were rearrested for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
This is a staggering number.
Yeah,
and it's kind of just goes to show that once you're sort of in that system, you're constantly trying to get out of it. It's not an easy task.
No,
and I think it's cheaper to actually teach job skills now, than having to keep reincarcerate people time after time after time again. And, it just puts a stress on your criminal justice system, puts a stress on, budgets at the end of the day. And, let's go ahead and pay for it now so we got to pay for it later.
Interestingly, Blake, the quote about give me a gun and I'll personally help you find a job, that was kind of in response to a lot of the conversation about Birmingham vying for the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah.
So a lot of the conversation about Birmingham was about the crime rate. And so when you look at Birmingham as a place to hold a convention, they're looking at the crime rate. And so this is this is coming out of that. So I think this is already one of the positive things about. I know
we may not get the DNC, but
it
it's,
may never happen. But at least this is a positive that's coming out of that.
Well, that's
conversation.
helping us move forward.
Exactly. That's the thing. Whenever you announce or trying to go for big projects, it makes you look at yourself and say, okay, what are the things that we need to fix? And that's this is one of the things that we're trying to fix right now. I mean, infrastructure is another thing. But we're moving in the right direction, I think.
Right.
So.
And yeah, I mean, a lot of what we've seen from Woodfin so far is more infrastructure, and that's great. We need that.
Yeah.
I think his focus on this is one of those things that has really caught me by surprise. I didn't expect it from a Birmingham mayor, and I'm extremely proud of his stance so far. So
Keep up the good work. Yeah. We got anything else for the good of the order?
No, that's it for me.
Patrick?
I'm good.
You sure, Patrick?
Yeah.
Nothing else? Good. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the Red Mountain Express. We appreciate everybody listening. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook, or you can go online to redmountainexpress.com and check out our show notes every week. We will see you next week. For Matthew Joyner and Patrick Tucker, I'm Blake Westbrook. It's been the Red Mountain Express. We'll see you next week.